Greetings and welcome to a November Spooktacular edition of Video Games, the Movie, the Podcast. We recorded this on Halloween weekend, but I'm pretty sure it's not going up on Halloween weekend. So, just keeping that spirit going through into November. I'm your host, Maxie.
I'm Dan. And we have a guest with us today.
Hi, hello, it's me, I'm Morgan. Hi, everybody. I am guesting here on this, as we said, November Spooktacular. I guess it could be kind of like a genericized autumn Spooktacular, maybe. Just kind of for the season instead of the holiday. But I'm very excited to be on.
Mm-hmm. Now, I might try to get this edited in time for Halloween. If not, then maybe it's for Dia de los Muertos, or maybe it's just for the grim chill of death that autumn has. And also comfortable temperatures and nice weather. How you doing?
Me? I'm good. I am excited to be here. I have been kind of mulling this movie over in my mind for the last couple weeks as we kind of set this up. But I'm good. I'm really hyped up for Halloween tomorrow. I'm excited for one of my favorite holidays. I went to a little screening of What We Do in the Shadows last night, and everyone was dressed up as vampires, and that was a lot of fun.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was pretty great. I love to get into the Halloween mood. I've been a little bit busy this year, but generally what I like to do is pick like 30 horror movies or 31 horror movies and try to watch one a night for the whole month. But, sometimes you've got responsibilities and you just got to do the best you can, But, no, it's been good. How are y'all? What are y'all up to in this late October Eve?
Let me think. I had some of my fun usual Saturday activities. I did a fun fanfic reading in the Jurgenet Discord. I got the podcast ready for tomorrow, Halloween, for two of my other podcasts. I am just really thrilled about this season. Oh, and yeah. How about you, Maxie?
I haven't been doing anything too special. Eidolon, which is the other podcast I'm on, didn't do much recording this month because of scheduling stuff, so I'm kind of just like biding my time until November and December when I have somebody visiting me from out of state. Other than that, working on music, working on RPGs when I have the energy to do that. Same old, same old.
Yeah. Have y'all been playing any video games lately?
I tried Everhood, and that was pretty good, but I fell off it as well pretty quick.
Yeah. I've been meaning to play that. A friend of mine got it for me for my birthday. And I have, as a constant reminder, I have placed it and the other game I really need to get around to playing, Get in the Car Loser, dead center of my desktop.
Oh, I gotta get back to Get in the Car Loser.
I've also been playing Yakuza 5.
Oh, hell yeah. It's a fun series.
Yeah. I'm on part 4 of 5 of the story. Nearly done with that part before the big finale part. There is a character in Yakuza who you can play as who canonically in text fucks. And I am overwhelmed by this after playing.
Yeah, that seems like a violation of the spirit of the franchise.
Yeah, that's pretty out there. I don't know. They're really reaching on that, I gotta say.
Let's see. Also, I've been trying to grind out the stuff for the little lore pages for the current Destiny 2 event.
Listen, you want to talk about events? Cookie Run 5th anniversary dropped. I've been playing this fucking game for a year. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I've always assumed by the name it's an endless runner. Is that true?
Sort of. It's a runner, but it's not endless, because it's got, like, gotcha elements, and part of that is that every character has, like, a stamina meter. But that's basically the gameplay, yeah. You automatically run, you jump, you slide.
Right, okay.
If you've played one of those games, you know how they work.
Right. Okay. Morgan, have you been playing anything?
Yeah, I think the important thing to know about me in regards to games is that I kind of move at turtle pace with games, you know? So I think the last game I finished was the Final Fantasy VII Remake after, like, putting it off for a year. I finally sat back down with that, and I beat it, and I really liked the way it ended. I'm really excited to see what they do with the next one, you know? I'm not, like, a huge Final Fantasy fan, but I am a big Kingdom Hearts fan, so that game did kind of make me want to play some more of those Square Enix, like, RPGs and such. The other thing I've been playing actually was what we're doing the podcast about this week. This month, I suppose. I have been playing a little bit of the Resident Evil remake for GameCube, and yeah, that game still kicks ass. I mean, I really like these games. I really like the franchise a lot, but the impressive thing to me about that GameCube remake is it still has a lot of power to establish a tone and an atmosphere in that game that's really, really strong. So I think it's a really good example of, even if it's kind of, I mean, I don't know if I would say that it's aged a bit. I mean, maybe like the load times are kind of long, and I think if they remade it again, they may take that kind of stuff out. But I think for what it is, it's still very fun, and it's very evocative, which is something I really like about the series.
What did you think about the 2 and 3 remakes that came out over the past few years?
I love them, to be totally honest. I had never played the original version of 3. I had seen somebody play it, but I'd never played it myself, so I didn't really get a great idea of like what the gameplay in that was like, but I really liked how they took 3 and they remade it into like a very no time wasted kind of blow by blow action kind of thing, you know, where it was, I think the 2 remake was really good because it told a story that was a little more in depth than I guess what you might expect from a Resident Evil movie, or not movie. Sorry, I'm already getting my wires crossed here, but it tells a story that's a little bit more, I think, presented on a bigger scale than some people expect from those games. But the thing I liked about 3 in comparison was that it just tightened it up so much, and once you start that game, it really just flies by, which I know was a big criticism some people had of it, that it wasn't like very expansive, but the original version of 3 wasn't that expansive either, so I don't know.
Okay, I do want to go over 2 small bits of video game movie news. Some trailers dropped. One was for, actually, Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City. Do want to note, it does look scary, but also, the montage bit of the trailer was set to, What's Up by 4 Non-Blondes.
Oh, it's so funny. It's so funny.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's like, it's one of those things where I am so invested in these movies, right? They're great, they're so much fun. And I was thinking about it, I was like, well, if they're more accurate to the game, I don't know if it's going to be as goofy, right? But of course, the minute you hear What's Up in that trailer, it's just like, oh no. no, this is going to be just as absurd as I would want it to be.
Hey, speaking of, I have a question.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll get into it once we actually start discussing the movie. Is Resident Evil 2002 funny on purpose?
Ooh, that's like, I think once you get into, like, the philosophical discourse around the Resident Evil movies, and, like, kind of how people interpret them on an academic level and really read a lot into them, is it funny on purpose is, like, the is God real question of the Resident Evil mythology. Like, I think, to some degree, Paul W.S. Anderson, who makes these, is aware of how kind of, like, if not corny, like, crowd pleaser-y these movies are, right? Like, he makes no bones about being a guy who makes movies that make you want to stand up and clap in the theater, right?
Right.
And so there's certainly that aspect to it, but the way that he goes about it, and especially in comparison to the Resident Evil source material, is just so bizarre and yet so carefully considered that it creates a really interesting contrast. And I think they are a little funny on purpose, but maybe not in the way that we find them funny today, because I think this movie has aged in a lot of really goofy ways too.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that answers the question.
I think so.
Yeah.
What was the other trailer you want to talk about, Dan?
The other trailer that dropped was for the Uncharted film.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my fucking god.
What do y'all think about that? What do y'all think about Tom Holland being in that movie?
He looks too twinky.
Yeah, I think so.
Listen, I'm fine with Tom Holland if it's supposed to be like young Nathan Drake, in the same way that, you know, I don't know enough 80s actors to make this comparison, but I would have been fine with some twink playing like young Indiana Jones.
Yeah, exactly.
But Mark Wahlberg as Sully just feels really...
It's such a bizarre decision. It reminds me of when they put Michael Fassbender in the Assassin's Creed movie.
Yes.
Sully is like if Launchpad McQuack was a gym teacher. I don't know that I trust Mark Wahlberg to carry off that vibe.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is true, but I have been told in the past that Mark Wahlberg was originally going to be Drake, but then he got too old, so he had to be Sully.
Oh, okay.
That would make a lot of sense to me.
I'm also looking at this cast list. I'm very excited for Antonio Banderas to be in this.
Oh shit! Oh man, what's he even been in recently? I didn't know he was still like in the biz.
Me neither. Let me check if... Let's see. Oh, he was in some stuff over the last couple years. Let me see. He's a bunch of pre-production stuff. He was in, The Laundromat, El Hormiguero, Vacaciones en el Titanic, Pain and Glory, Life Itself. He was in the TV series Genius as Pablo Picasso.
Oh.
Okay.
Just reading some names here. He was in that 2020 Doolittle film. I forgot about that.
The
Yeah,
one with, like,
I forgot about
RDJ?
that too. Yeah.
Wow.
Damn, I wish I could have seen that in theaters. It seemed really bad.
Mm-hmm.
You remember the Eddie Murphy Doolittle films?
I never
Yes.
saw them. I remember them, but I never saw them.
When I was a kid, my parents took me to a drive-in theater one time. It was a double feature. It was the remake of Planet of the Apes, and
my
it was
gosh.
Doolittle.
That's a very bizarre contrast.
I do not remember a single fucking thing about either of those movies.
That's incredible.
That's so strange. Did they just say, okay, well, they both have monkeys in them. I guess this is a good double feature.
Listen,
Yeah.
double the monkeys, double the fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. More fun than 2 barrels of monkeys, you know?
Love a monkey. So, yeah, that's it for news. I didn't do any further research on any video game news.
Mhm.
This is just stuff I picked up over time. Also stuff I didn't do enough research for, some background notes for the film. This film, there were like 3 versions of this pre-production.
Yeah,
There was the original version, written by Alan B. McElroy. It looks, according to Wikipedia, there was no umbrella, no stars. It was like, it was like some weird special forces, experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like a real Super Mario Brothers-ization of the source material. And that's not a knock against Super Mario Brothers, right? Like,
no. Yeah.
I think what it does with that material is incredible, but this sounds like the same kind of approach.
Yeah, like, the twist apparently was that they think that they're, like, dealing with an outbreak, but in fact they're actually in a sort of experiment. The second version, let's see if I'm reading this right, was written by George A. Romero. He did a commercial for Resident Evil 2 at the time. This one, from what I can tell, is more true to, like, the plot of the original Resident Evil.
Mm-hmm.
But it also would have received an NC-17 rating.
Yeah, that would have been a cool version of this movie. Like, I'm glad we got what we got, but I would have loved to have seen what he did with this, so...
Let's see. Oh, there's also just a footnote one. There was a third one, but anyways. Star of last month's film, director of last month's film, Mortal Kombat, Paul W.S. Anderson, who at this point had managed to accomplish the goal of making an actually successful, video game movie, was brought on. He was the writer, the director, and that's how it came to be. Also, according to this, the casting, so we know Michelle Rodriguez, we know Mila Jovovich, the star of the series.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't she's like his wife, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they met on the set of this film.
He loves his wife so much, and
he loves his wife a whole lot.
in every fucking Resident Evil film.
Yeah, what you gotta know about these movies, what you gotta know is that as they go on, they become increasingly wife-centric. I think they get married around the time they make, like, the second movie or something like that, and so by the time you get to Retribution, which is the best one, they are just, like, putting her in, like, skin-tight latex cat suits and, like, dual-wielding machine guns and just doing matrix flips and kicking ass and that kind of thing. And by that point, it's just pretty shameless. But yeah. I think it's very important going into these movies to know that this is just extreme wife guy energy.
Yeah. I gotta say, it's perhaps one of the greatest wife guy moves a husband could ever perform.
Absolutely.
Also... David Boreanaz was going to be, Matt Addison, but he turned out the role to work on, Angel. Let's see, anything else real quick? Oh yeah, the soundtrack was composed by Marco Beltrami and Marilyn Manson.
Of course it was, yeah.
Oh, that explains a lot.
Yeah, this is a real 90s Hot Topic movie. It truly is.
God.
This is like those Hot Topics they used to have with the wrought iron gates and the bleeding font.
Whoa, what? Oh, no, those must have been before my time. I would love to go to one of those.
Oh, have you never seen those? Let me pull up an image here, because there was one in my hometown mall that was there like forever. With this storefront on it, and it started getting phased out, I think, during like the mid 2000s, and it's really hard to find any Hot Topics that look like this these days. But this is like the classic. It looks like a Quake map essentially.
Oh my god! You know, I wish I had gone to a Hot Topic in the 2000s.
It's a completely different beast. Now they just sell Funko Pops, but you used to be able to buy, like, fucking, I don't know, some real wild shit there. So.
Here's the thing. Like, there's been this weird convergent evolution of, like, mall retail stores where they've all become the same establishment that just sells
pop culture.
nerd T-shirts and Funko Pops.
Totally,
Like,
totally.
It happened to GameStop. It happened to Hot Topic. This is more of a local chain out in like Massachusetts, but it happened to Newbury Comics.
Oh, definitely. I've gone through some mall stores and gotten very disappointed.
Yeah.
How are we supposed to form subcultures if there's no way for like a grimy teen to buy the world's cheapest corset and wear it like on top of their Zelda t-shirt?
Absolutely.
I ask you.
Yeah. I think that's a valid question. I mean, maybe you buy that stuff at Spencer's now. I don't know, but
listen, Spencer's sucks. Spencer's has always sucked, but they've kept the dream alive.
Yeah, every time I walk into a Spencer's, it is like I'm walking into a mall in like 1998. It's very evocative.
They will always have like really cheap and shitty panties. They will always have something shaped like a dick. And they will always have that, like, orb that does the electricity when you put your hand on it.
The Tesla coil, right?
Oh my god, I remember seeing one of those as a kid.
Yeah.
Oh.
If you had one of those as a kid, you were, like, hot shit, I gotta say. That's like that's like a primo platinum kid item. I mean, they're pretty kick-ass, you know? They're good for Halloween decorations, too, so... Maybe 12-year-old me was onto something.
Yeah. Fuck, where was I? Yeah, that's... let's see. A lot of, like, computer effects. Computer effects are a big part of this series, and this definitely makes it start. Yeah, okay. As far as, like, release goes, let me see. Was this a success? Well, in our hearts, yes, but...
Yeah, I would think it had to have been at least kind of a success. They've made like 5 sequels.
All of the Resident Evil movies have made wild amounts of money, and even if they're not commercial or critically successful, they raked in cash. Like, this movie was made for $33 million, and at the box office it got $102.4. So, for something of this nature, they are pretty largely successful in that way.
Yeah. Alright. That's all I want to go over real quick. So let's get right into this film. Let's see. Okay, we open with this, like, office laboratory facility building, possibly.
There's a fantastic opening shot. Can I actually like?
Oh yes.
This is one of the best parts of the whole movie. Every time I watch this film, it cracks me up. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
So like, it starts giving us like this opening narration, this exposition about like the Umbrella Corporation. You know, they got secret bioweapons. You get the idea. You know the lore. But then we get this shot where it just like starts in near total darkness, and then it like zooms in to the inside of this sealed like biochemical experimentation chamber.
Yeah.
And we're like looking out at the person using it. It's fucking cool.
It's such a bold thing to start your movie with. Like, if you go into a theater and that's the first thing you see on your like action summer blockbuster zombie movie, you know that you are in the hands of somebody who has like a vision, right? And he certainly has a vision for this film.
Yeah, there's like vials of tubes. There's like a briefcase full of vials. The like vials have like the stuff in them are in like little helix-shaped tubes.
Yeah.
They look cool.
One of the vials gets tossed, presumably by accident. But, and...
No, that looks like super deliberate to me. Like,
no,
the person like putting the samples away just like tosses it at a desk and it smashes.
Right.
Yeah, I think we find out later that it was thrown on purpose to cover up the escape, right? So the alarms would go off and they could slip out.
Yeah. It lets out this gas. The gas goes into the vents. We get to see like more of this, like, laboratory office place. There's like dogs, the dogs can smell the gas and are, like, freaking out.
Mm-hmm. And then, like, the automated lockdown protocol goes into effect. Which is mostly just, like, sealing doors, stopping elevators, cutting off the brakes to elevators to kill entire cars of people for whatever reason.
Yeah, real Final Destination ass bullshit.
It is so Final Destination. It feels goofy as hell.
It is, and it rules.
Yeah.
I do like parts of this sequence. The one thing I don't get is one of the things that happens is the fire suppression system in a lab activates and floods the room. What's that about? There's not a fire there.
Well, we didn't see the next part because the doors got jammed, but after that happens, the AI releases piranhas into the room to protect the viral.
There were piranhas? Oh, okay.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they
I
just...
did not process the piranhas
Me
at
neither.
all.
Oh my god.
I'm just fucking around.
Okay.
I'm truly just pulling your leg. I'm sorry.
Fuck.
No, I have
so
no
excited.
idea. I have no idea. I think maybe the implication is that there's like a fire, but we don't really see one, right? So who knows? But no, I was truly having a joke and a jape about the piranhas. I'm sorry.
There's I kind of assume that that being a shady corporation, they have deliberately set it so that if something goes wrong, you kill everyone and replace them.
So here's the thing, though, and I think this is kind of the thing that really throws the whole plot into question. Is the main thrust of this movie is that an Umbrella-backed commando team is going in to, like, figure out what's going on and retrieve the virus. But, like, doesn't feel like they're making it easy on their own guys, you know? I feel like...
What happens here, right, is the virus is stolen, right? Like, that's the opening sequence. And the facility does not lock down because the virus is stolen. The facility locks down because the Red Queen, the AI, goes rogue when she sees that the virus has been stolen. And in order to keep the virus from escaping, she goes against protocol and puts the Umbrella facility into lockdown against her hierarchy of orders or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So normally they would be totally fine with somebody stealing the virus.
Yeah, well, like, it's just no one would do anything. Like, no one would notice, right? But the implication is that, you know, quote unquote, for the good of humanity, she has gone against her programming and locked people in and killed them to prevent the virus from escaping and causing an outbreak, right?
Right.
I think that's kind of the lampshade put on this whole thing of like, oh, Umbrella is invading their own facility and getting their ass kicked. Yeah. What if Umbrella was forced to fight its own facility? So, you know.
What else? We get the final shot of this breakdown scene is this, like, lady trying to crawl out of the elevator, but, starts up right as her head's sticking out. Her head gets hit, and then it cuts to, Mila Jovovich.
Hell yeah.
Mila Jovovich's eye.
Yeah.
This is a shot that Paul W.S. Anderson loves to put in these movies.
I can tell he does it twice in this one.
Yeah, it is a recurring visual motif across this franchise.
So, when I first saw this shot where she's, like, unconscious in a shower stall and, like, wrapped up in the curtain, I was like, is she just sleeping here?
Yeah. It's good for her back, you know? It straightens her back out. I don't know.
I really like this thing where she's, like, wandering around this effectively escape room. Just she's, like, looking at notes. She's, like, she finds a drawer full of guns. She finds address to where, this sequence honestly does feel like something you would experience in, like, a survival horror game at the start.
Yeah, totally. I think this sequence is great because it really establishes a mood, and it is very reflective of that atmosphere of starting out in a survival horror game. But it's also really funny to me because the mood is immediately shattered by, like, this team of umbrella commandos, like, swinging down and breaking through a window. And, like, I feel like that's the first point in this where you're like, okay, if you came into this expecting the game, like how the game is a horror game, then you are not going to get exactly what you're looking for out of this, right?
My favorite part of this whole exploration sequence is probably the, like, huge ass flock of crows that flies away when she calls out, like, hello. But I also did really like the angel statue that's just covered in plastic wrap. We never find out what that is.
It's very evocative. I don't really know that it ever comes to anything, and I think it may. Is that a reference to the actual game? Isn't there a room with an angel statue, like, right after you start?
Like, I think there's an angel statue, but it's definitely not covered in plastic wrap.
Yeah, it's a very striking image. What do y'all think about the way the house looks on the outside?
Oh, it looks so ugly. It looks like a fucking cheesecake factory.
It's really bad.
Oh my god, it is a cheesecake factory. This house is going on McMansion hell.
It's literally like somebody who Paul knew, and, like, he went to their fucking Hollywood house and filmed the exteriors for this movie. Like, there's almost no thought put into it whatsoever. But I do like the interiors. They managed to be decently spooky mansion while still having a more modern style, I think. And I do like the bit where she tries to figure out if it's her own handwriting by writing the note to herself to match the ones on the paper.
That makes a lot of sense now. I didn't get that at first.
Yeah, it's her checking her handwriting against the thing.
See, so here's one of my problems with the structure of this movie. I wish they would commit to either, like, an amnesia-centric plotline or, like, a commando infiltrate the base type of plotline. Because I feel like they're just kind of at cross purposes for a lot of this movie.
Sure.
And I would love to see more moments like that where she's just trying to put it together based on the evidence available to her.
Yeah, it really kind of clips along through all that stuff, right? Like, I feel like her amnesia in this is more of an excuse to have her grow as a character through it, because if she starts out as, like, the badass like commando, then there's no real, like, conflict to it, I guess. But I think the other reason is because this movie is a movie that thinks The Matrix is, like, the best film ever made, and this movie is literally The Matrix. Like, it's like how Neo becomes the one where, like, her memories start coming back and she learns how to do karate and shit like that.
You ever think about how the protagonist of this movie is a blonde woman named Alice?
Yeah, and they test
the
T
AI
virus.
is called the Red Queen.
They test the T virus on the white rabbit at the beginning when you go down the rabbit hole into that first shot. Yeah.
And have you ever thought about how, like, Mario eats mushrooms to get big, and, like, what if they were magic mushrooms?
See, that's one of the reasons these movies kick so much ass is because it's like this man's, like, shameless, like, just almost juvenile writing style where it's, like, really shameless but also really cool because of how shameless it is, where it's like, wouldn't it kick ass if it was Alice and the Red Queen? And I say, yeah, it actually would kind of kick ass is the thing. So there's a lot of that in these movies. I think at the detriment to being accurate to the source material,
Right. So the SWAT team is, like, they're trying to get a report from her. She doesn't know what's going on.
There's also this other guy, Matthew.
Yeah.
Matt Addison, who, they don't know who this fucking guy is. They just handcuff him, and he hates this because he's a cop. He told you he's a cop.
Is he the guy? Yeah, he's the. Okay, yeah, I think
Yeah.
I know which one he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just started calling him Cop Matt to like
Cop
keep it
Matt.
straight in my head.
Yeah, totally.
Let's see. Some of them take off their masks. Well, they all take off their masks, and we enter. They sort of like enter the hive.
Yeah, they go into like this area with a train and some crates and shit. They board the train. They're going to use this to go to the Umbrella headquarters from the opening sequence.
Yeah.
That's the hive.
Yeah. Invader Zim background music plays.
Yeah. We get the 3D wireframe of the hive somewhere around here, right?
Yeah.
That's something else that is a recurrent theme through these movies, is like the 3D wireframe to establish a space.
I love those.
They're so good. Like, he does those in all of these movies, and he even does it in his Three Musketeers movie with like a paper map instead of a 3D
That's so
wireframe.
fucking
Oh my
good!
God.
Oh my
it's so
god!
good. If y'all like this movie, you should watch Three Musketeers, because it's literally this with Mila Jovovich, but just in like 17th century France or 18th century France or whatever.
God,
Instead
that
of
rules.
being in like Cyberpunk 2002. Yeah. It's a real funny movie.
So on the train, also, they find another guy, an unconscious man. Alice remembers that he's her husband. She has a flashback to their wedding.
Yep.
And I love this symbolism because she just like checks the inside of her wedding ring and it's engraved with property of Umbrella Corporation.
Ooh,
Uh-oh.
shit.
It's symbolic.
It is, yeah. It's storytelling and themes.
Yeah. Wow, that really makes me think.
Yeah, that's some real Banksy shit. They commissioned him to do all the, the fashion stuff for Umbrella.
Hey, I also want to bitch about the cast for a second.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
It is impossible to keep all these fucking people straight.
Absolutely.
And I know
yeah.
that half of them are all going to die at once. So
Yes.
that'll help. But, like, there's, like, 4 dark-haired white guys, 2 dark-haired women. All the scenes are, like, pretty dimly lit for the most part.
Uh-huh.
And we spend, like, a scene and a half just not having anybody introduced by name. When
No.
we do get names, it's just, like, a very fleeting shot of the Red Queen's, like, security feed. It's like, oh, this one's Rain. She's got a pistol and a submachine gun. Next, this one's Warner. So on and so forth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It took me until, like, literally the end of the film to learn which one is named that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know, I think 2 characters' names in this, and it's Alice and Rain, and that's pretty much it.
Well, one is easy.
Yeah.
By which I mean the character named One is easy, because he's the squad's leader. He's like the only black guy of any importance in the movie.
Do they really name him One in this?
They named his code name is One.
Oh my god, this is like the 8th time I've watched this movie, and I have never noticed that before. Oh, that's
by the
miserable.
By the way, he's the leader of the squad, and he's like the only black person in this movie. So, you know how long it takes him to die.
Not quite the first, but still pretty up front.
Let's say tied for first,
Yeah.
for all intents and purposes.
It's a single sequence, it's like a team kill.
Yeah. You get a bit of exposition. The Hive is a massive underground complex, underneath Raccoon City, owned, operated by Umbrella. Loads of, like, people working there, doing secret research. It has a computer defense mechanism, and Mila and her fake husband, by the way, he's a fake husband,
Here's the part that I don't get. Is he? Because they definitely fucked, and they definitely did have, like, a wedding.
Maybe Umbrella was like, hey, we're looking for married employees for an exciting career opportunity. If any of you are married and also know kung fu, please apply to this defense position.
Yeah.
I mean, they are undercover, but it does seem like they have an actual relationship, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does weirdly, talking about this does weirdly remind me of, like, that one detail that'll come up in, like, conspiracy stories and, like, science fiction and stuff where, characters' parents aren't actually their parents, are actors. And it's just like, damn, you really gotta commit to the bit for that.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah, Mila and, Matt were hit with, like, nerve gas, or not Matt, the husband. I don't remember the husband's name.
I have
don't
no
know.
clue.
So,
Spencer.
Spence.
Oh, right,
They call
Spence.
him Spence, like, at the end, and without introducing it at any point. I don't know if they ever say Alice's name.
Gosh, she may not. Because I know
nobody fucking says their name in this movie.
Well,
and they all look the same.
Have I got news for you? The first line of dialogue that starts every movie after this is "My name is Alice." So they heard your criticism, and they're putting that shit right up at the front, just right off the bat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's always important to learn from your mistakes.
I agree.
Yeah, Alice and Spence were hit with nerve gas, which made them amnesic. And also, the hive has like fake windows, or just apparently it makes it easier to work.
It's all part of the Alice in Wonderland narrative, right? It's Alice goes through the looking glass. They literally go through a mirror down into the Umbrella facility, and once she's down there, it's like an artificial reality, you know.
Yeah.
It feels kind of dumb to be talking about this stuff with this movie, but it's all there, like it's in the text, you know. Just a very interesting approach.
Yeah. We also learn about the Red Queen, who we mentioned earlier. It's the computer that runs the hive. They notice, like, there's leaking coming from, like, one of the windows. They see, like, the flooded area. Let's see.
Rain sees a drowned corpse of a scientist, and she's like,
yeah.
Poor bastards. And then as soon as she's out of shot, we get like a Flash game tier jump scare.
Oh god, yeah.
It's so good. I was going to ask you what y'all thought about this one.
The jump scare got me. Like, I'm weak to jump scares. It got me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also weak to jump scares, and it like kind of got me, but I also saw it coming, so I just ended up laughing.
Yeah, the motion of it's really funny, right? Like they accelerate the speed so the hand just kind of...
It looks like when somebody falls over on Family Guy.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Let's see. Yeah, Mila also is given a cool jacket.
Oh,
that's important.
That is very important. That's very important. She spends this whole movie doing hot girl shit in like a red dress, combat boots, and a leather jacket, which is just a hell of a look. Very late 90s, early 2000s.
They're going through the facility. They find quote-unquote dining hall B. It's a secret room full of like weird cages. There's like, we get shots of like these tubes of blood going into something.
Yeah, this is down where Umbrella's mining crypto. They just walked into the GPU farm.
Yeah. I'm sure that, anyways.
Umbrella is absolutely mining crypto, let's be clear. That is 100% something they would do in these movies.
I want to see Wesker with one of those little NFT monkeys.
Bitcoin.
Wesker in the NFT art style.
Oh my gosh.
Jill, you have to understand. It's a unique identifier that can't be replicated, no matter what these right-click savers will tell you.
Absolutely, 100%. That's just going to be the plot of Resident Evil 9.
So the group breaks up into two parties. One party is like Mila and the important characters that are going to live.
Mhm.
The other character is the characters that are going to die. They hack into this room to get into the Red Queen's chambers. And this room, it's a big white glass room. And, the trap's gone off. It locks itself. There is a laser that is easily able to slice through flesh. It's a huge threat to them. They have to dodge it. They do a very bad job at dodging it.
It is a WarioWare game where first they have to go under it, then they have to go over one but under another. And one manages to survive to the end of this sequence, but then the Red Queen just deploys a big old grid.
Cheese grater.
And he becomes chunks. Cubes.
This is very possibly, aside from the Wesker and Chris fight in Resident Evil Afterlife, this is the most iconic scene from this entire movie franchise.
Yeah.
Easily. It's something people always recognize from this, and like whenever you talk to somebody about these movies, they're like, "Oh, I think I remember that. That's the one with the laser hallway, right?" And it's an image the franchise is obsessed with, to the point that they recreate it, I think, in 3 more of these movies, and then Anderson recreates it again in Three Musketeers using Mila Jovovich.
What?
Yeah, it's like a hallway of arrows that's
oh
being
my
shot
God.
at her, and she's in this 18th century petticoat dodging these arrows or cannon. It may be cannonballs, I don't remember, but he absolutely does it with her and projectiles in that movie.
That's great.
I
also know it gets used in one of. It's in 4, right?
Yeah. 4 was the first game that came out after this movie. This game came out, I think, a few months before they released Resident Evil 0. But then 4 was the one that was kind of in development. And there is a scene near the end of that game where you're Leon walking down a hallway and you do quick time events to this exact thing.
So, after that whole scene, we get to see, I think they're trying to make an EMP or something, I'm not sure. But they come across the Red Queen's, hologram.
It looks good.
She speaks in a very kind of monotone British child's voice for some reason.
Yeah, when we watched this, my partner said she sounded like Peppa Pig, which I thought was very
She
funny.
sounds like Peppa Pig! She does!
Oh my God! Oh my God! Resident Evil Umbrella Corporation is the ones behind kids' YouTube!
Absolutely, yeah. This is the algorithm.
The most powerful weapon of all.
Yeah.
A psychological weapon.
The Red Queen is the AI based on what happens when you let a kid watch 2,000 hours of those videos. But she looks good in this movie. She looks like a big human Jolly Rancher just standing at the middle of this room. Just made of complete jelly, which I think is really funny.
Yeah,
Please don't lick me. Dust will stick to me.
You're all going to die down here.
Iconic line. Again, all-time iconic line from this franchise. Do either of y'all listen to Machine Girl at all?
No.
Girl.
Yeah.
I've heard the name, but I don't think so.
One of their songs samples that, and it kicks ass. It's so much fun. But yeah, I don't think the plot of this movie is super complicated, right? They go down there and they set off the EMP, and because they set off the EMP, it releases all the doors and the zombies get out, right?
Yeah.
It gets you to the point where the movie wants you, which is them encountering the zombies. And I think in terms of that, just from a narrative standpoint, it's like meat and potatoes, right? Nothing special, but it gets you there.
Yeah. During the first zombie shootout, I do want to note that when they shouted, "Watch out for the tank," it took me a moment to realize they meant like an actual tank full of stuff and not like a
like a Left 4
heavy
Dead tank.
zombie unit. Yeah.
Listen, Resident Evil Retribution is where the zombies start driving cars and shooting machine guns, so y'all just have
Hell
to
yes.
see the movies. I'm telling y'all, even if you don't watch the rest of these, watch Afterlife and Retribution because they're so funny. They're
gotta
such
watch-
a hoot.
We
Yeah.
gotta
I think
watch
you
more
might
of these.
have to watch the rest of these.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit a bump, right? Because the first one's fine. The second one is more accurate to the games, but it's probably the second worst. And then 3 is pretty okay, but then 4 and 5, and I say this on literally every podcast I appear on, Afterlife and Retribution are just two perfect like schlock action movies. They're both so good. So you at least gotta watch up to those is my recommendation. But yeah, this first zombie attack is, I think, stylistically where you really get kind of a full departure from like the kind of action horror inspired stuff from the Resident Evil games, because this is where Michelle Rodriguez is like wrapping her arms around a zombie and like snapping its neck, right? Like that is the moment in this that kind of crosses the Rubicon for me. And then later in this we get these wild close-ups on guns like pumping out bullets in like extreme close-up, like up in the barrel, like watching the slide go back as the shells fly out. Like it's I don't know, I think a lot about how this movie is informed by The Matrix, right?
Right.
And I think this scene is kind of where we first get the first major impression of that.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. A recurring thing throughout this next whole sequence is like people seeing a docile zombie and thinking, "Oh, that's a survivor."
Oh, it's normal.
But it's not. It's a zombie, and they're going to bite you. Let's see. Let's see.
There is this one really good bit where Kaplan, who's like the hacker commando, keeps trying to open a door, but he's fucking up the code. So one of the other commandos pushes him aside, and he's asking what's the code, and Kaplan's like 04, no wait 014, and then they finally get it open. The guy says, "See how easy that was?" And he immediately gets dragged away by a horde of zombies.
Oh
Incredibly
god, yeah.
fucking funny.
It's pretty good. It's also a direct Day of the Dead reference, like the Romero movie. There's a scene in that where a dude opens this door and he gets pulled in by zombies and like literally disemboweled. And this is kind of a reference to that. But I think the part where they're trying to punch in the code is really funny. It's really good.
Yeah. I think this is around when we first see the liquor.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Oh my fucking god. So first of all, this thing is so computer generated. It hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And second of all the monsters to make like your big pyramid head final boss enemy, whatever. Why the liquor?
I wonder if it's because they thought they could make a tyrant look scary, right? Like it'd just be a big guy, And
well, good news. They didn't make the liquor look scary either.
The worst part about the liquor is that one of my favorite shots in this movie are when I think they're looking inside the tank, or it's the liquor waking up for the first time, and there are all these practical effects shot that look like something from like a Cronenberg movie or Tetsuo the Iron Man, where you see like the brains inside the tank with like all the tubes coming out of it, and I love that shit. It's so good. But then it gets out of the tank and it just looks like it looks like a monster from one of those really cheap animated like Transformers, like Beast Wars or whatever. Like I think that's maybe being a little cruel to Beast Wars, because I think the liquor CGI is probably worse.
Yeah. The one thing that just like struck me in like, I think this particular first liquor scene is like, it just really looks like a GIF superimposed onto a pre-existing video. It's great. So what happens next? Okay, so now we get Mila, like, looking around. She finds, like, these empty dog cages. And then she finds, a zombie dog. Quite a few, actually. And
yeah, she runs from the first dog. She finds a zombie human, and she does a sick-ass jump kick.
It's so
Yeah.
good.
God, yeah.
And this
She
is where all of her memories come back, right?
Yeah, she sees the code. She remembers how to fight. She gets a gun, starts shooting dogs.
This is where I realized this movie was essentially The Matrix.
Oh, is it the bit where she does like a wall run
Yes.
into a jump kick to a dog's head as it is jumping at her?
Yes. When I rented this on YouTube, and for very good reason, the little preview image, it, like, not like the movie thing, but like when it's loading up, it is her kicking the dog in the face.
Well, God
It's
bless.
so fucking good.
So, meanwhile, Mila's fake husband is...
No, this is Cop Matt.
Oh, it's not Matt? Or
No,
it's
this
not...
this is Matt.
is it-
This is
yeah.
not Spence.
Okay. It's Matt.
This
Okay.
is what I was fucking talking about earlier. Everybody in this movie looks the same.
This whole movie is just Farquaad pointing.
Yeah,
it really
okay,
is.
yeah. I think I got, like, some weird misinterpretation or misremembering of the film where, like, I thought, Matt might be her fake, or Spence is her fake husband, but Matt's her real husband, or some shit like that. I think that's what was going through my head.
They kind of try to play it up like they have a thing at the end, right?
Yeah.
A little bit.
I mean, they kind of play it up like she cares about Rain too,
yeah.
and none of it really lands.
Yeah,
these are just some people.
They're just
Yeah.
folks, you know?
Yeah. But...
So Cop Matt finds an ID card that says Lisa.
Mhm.
And this is significant because Lisa is his sister, and also she was planning to steal the virus, but apparently she got screwed over by her person on the inside.
Yes.
Yeah.
We also learned that Alice was her person on the inside.
Mhm.
So Alice is like, "Oh no, did I fuck her over? That's not good."
Yeah. Yeah, she was going to, like, do corporate espionage to, like, reveal the crimes of Umbrella to the public.
Because as we all know, once people know that a business is up to shady shit, they face consequences for it.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
So, at this point, there's a transition. They're trying to get through some zombies.
Yeah, everybody's just like back in the same central location again. I don't really know what happened here.
They had to do some puzzles off screen.
Oh yeah, no, we didn't see hacker guy like, oh, okay, I got like a star-shaped crest, and I got a scrap of paper that says 0219. And there's like a projector and a lamp and an abstract sculpture.
Yeah.
We missed the part where Alice had to push 3 boxes in a row and then blow up a great white shark.
I just assume this is what's happening between every transition.
Yeah.
We get, like, a time limit. They have an hour to get out of the mansion before the gates seal permanently, and they die, essentially. They get trapped forever. So, as it turns out, the only way to get out is they've got to reactivate the Red Queen. Red Queen's, like, taunting them. She gives some exposition about how the Umbrella Corporation developed the T-Virus. The T-Virus makes zombies. Selling the T-Virus would make them a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And the only 2 ways to kill a zombie is either by snapping their neck or shooting them in the head. After this, they have to, like, go through these like, sub-basement tunnels.
Yeah, the utility tunnels, which means the action is even more poorly lit and hard to follow, which is great.
What, you
Yeah.
don't like blue lights? You don't just
This whole fucking movie is so blue.
You should watch Resident Evil Apocalypse. It's even worse. It's that whole movie is like they just slathered blueberry jam over the lens.
Is that the third one or the fourth one?
Sorry. Apocalypse is the second one. Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Oh, right.
Man, they really escalated that one fast, huh?
Yeah, Extinction is the third one, and that's the one where it becomes like Mad Max after the fall of Umbrella or some shit like that. The T-Virus has somehow inexplicably made the entire United States an arid desert, except for the parts of it that we see that certainly aren't. So, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, so, we have them crawling through, like, these tunnels. They have to go to, like, this above area that the zombies can't get to. Mila breaks the zombie's neck with her size. She's, like, doing action shit while the rest are just trying to, like, get out. Kaplan gets grabbed by the ghoulies. Michelle Rodriguez is having trouble seeing, but...
Yeah, she can't see, she can't focus. I'm sure this is all fine.
Yeah. We should be worth noting. She did get, right at the start of when the zombies were introduced, she got bit. The Red Queen says that it is going to result in infection.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Kaplan's got one bullet left.
I don't get this part. Like, he's going to shoot himself, but then he doesn't?
Yeah, I guess, I don't know, I guess he, like, learned to appreciate his life or something. He,
I know that when I'm being attacked by a relentless horde of zombies, I feel very affirmed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He just didn't want to go out like that. I don't know.
Instead of killing himself, he just kind of, like, runs through a vent in the other direction.
Oh, right, when we think he's going to shoot himself, there's like a gunshot, and we get this great zoom in on Mio's eyes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's a good shot.
Yeah. The crew makes it out of the utility tunnels, and Liquor's coming, and Michelle Rodriguez announces that after this is over, she's gonna fuck.
Hell yeah, girl.
It's like that
Get
sometimes.
it. So Alice remembers at this point that Umbrella had a cure to the T-virus as well. The virus was blue, the antivirus is green. She goes looking for the antivirus in the flooded lab, but it's not there. She also confirms to Cop Matt that she was Lisa's inside woman, but she doesn't know whether she betrayed her or not. But you know who did betray her is husband.
Oh no.
So like, now we get a flashback from Spence's perspective. This amnesia shit is so fucking exhausting.
This thing from Spence's perspective, that's a real tongue twister. This is shot like a Saw twist reveal. It is like images flashing in and out, the colors go wild, like it gets desaturated, like it starts playing this like guitar music. He's
got this directional microphone.
Yeah.
While the other two are in the cemetery.
Big, you wouldn't download a car type energy, right? And
God, yeah.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I don't really know that anyone actually cares about this plot line in this movie. And I think it's funny that they treat it with such gravitas to have stylized it in this way.
Yeah, there's PS2 demo disc music during this whole flashback sequence. They're in the flooded room. I think, really bad at remembering. The cop, Matt, says that nothing's ever gonna change. He's holding them up. He just wants to get the, vials and go. And they reveal
and while
that
he's monologuing, Drowned Lady shows up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's here too.
She attacks him from behind, and like it's cool for a second, but then he just fights her off and leaves, and like seals them in the lab. So it's you know,
is this
kind of cool?
Is this where he's in the lab and he gets the line read where he's like, "That bitch of a computer," or is that later on in this movie?
No, I think that was this scene.
Yeah, his accent really comes through on the tail end of that.
What else happens while they're here? The Red Queen, like, pops up and says, she's been a bad girl.
Yeah,
God,
they're
she
worried
does
that, like,
say that, doesn't she?
Yeah, Matt is like, oh, I can't believe he's gonna get away with this, and she's like, I wouldn't be so sure about that. I've been very, very naughty.
Yeah, gosh, you really get the Red Queen voice down pretty accurately, I gotta say. It's very funny.
Yeah, it turns... Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
I guess she unleashed the liquor, because now, as he's, like, trying to make his way out, he injects himself with the antivirus. The liquor just goes to town on him.
He gets licked.
God, I wish that were me. Yeah, it really fucks him up, and, like, I think the worst part about this scene isn't even the CGI on the liquor attack, which, to be clear, is very bad, but the worst part is when the liquor drinks his blood and, like, transforms into, like, a big dog liquor. They're not to denigrate another media franchise, but it's very much like an Animorphs moment where you just see it kind of melt and shift into this other form. Do y'all think this second form, liquor, looks good? Do y'all like this?
It doesn't look worse.
That's about right, yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, whenever it kills someone, it, like, drains their power and becomes more powerful.
Sure.
It's like...
Why not?
So, at this point, the Red Queen is telling Mila she has to sacrifice Rain, Michelle Rodriguez.
The really funny thing about this is that, like, Mia is like, no, I won't do it, and Rain's spending the whole time like, no, like, do it. I'm super infected.
Yeah.
Like, obviously. Just,
yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna get in position, just hit me with the axe. No, shut up. Hit me with the axe. Leave. It's all good. But instead, Mia Jovovich hits the monitor that the Red Queen is, like, having the Umbrella logo on or whatever with an axe. And then the door opens, and for a second it's like, did she kill the Red Queen by attacking the monitor? But no, Kaplan's alive, and he fried her.
Yeah. We get a jump cut to them, going to the train station. There's, Matt, or Spence? Matt, whichever one.
Spence's husband.
Spence.
He's a zombie man, can't do anything. Mila kills him. And they've gotta leave, and symbolically, Mila drops her ring.
Damn.
Genuinely good shot.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Michelle Rodriguez is injected with the antivirus, which, forgot to mention, but while it can cure it, there's a significant chance of failure. They manage to get on the train out. Let's see, Michelle Rodriguez hands over the countdown watch to Mila and then dies. Let's see. I don't think I quite understand what happens next.
I think,
So, like, so she gives Rain the antiviral agent, and it seems like Rain is dead, and Alice gets all weepy about it. Rain then, like, wakes up, and she says she's okay. she's not okay. She's still infected. And then the liquor just like tears its way into the train and immediately eats Kaplan. Like one shot out the door, out the hole, gone.
Hey, I'm looking through my notes. I forgot to mention there's just one of the randos who died earlier was named JD. It's just funny to me. It makes me think of JD from Scrubs, but
makes me think of JD Vance. Wait, hey, I wish that guy had gotten eaten by a zombie. Saved us the trouble.
Right. So, Matt shoots Michelle Rodriguez as she's turning. And when he does that, she lands on the button door. Oh, yeah, also we have this whole, like, liquor struggle. I forgot to mention that. That's, like, right before this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not really anything, because, like, Alice is shooting at it, and it doesn't do anything, and then just, like, Matt slams some pipes into it, and then Alice impales its tongue. And that's kind of it for the liquor.
Yeah.
There's, like, a trapdoor under it, which, like you said, it opens when Rain dies and, like, presses the button with her corpse. And then the liquor falls through and gets electrified and set on fire.
Yeah.
It's pretty gnarly.
So, they have seconds left to escape, but they get out just in time. They're going through the mansion. They have the briefcase full of virus and antivirus. Everything looks good, but Matt's infected. And a hazmat team comes in and escorts them away.
Come in framed like angels from On God. Like, they bust down the door, light just spills out through the door frame. We get the Marilyn Manson butt rock start playing, and then we get kind of my favorite moment in this whole movie, because of just how colossally stupid it is, where these guys in the hazmats come in, and they see Matt, the cop, starting to mutate, and they're talking about how he's mutating, and you hear one guy go, "I want him in the Nemesis program." And so this guy is going to become Nemesis in the next film, which is just tremendous. Absolutely tremendous storytelling.
Yeah, so...
You'd think he would love stars. He's a cop.
Yeah, totally.
We get some more narration, from this guy. Mila's gonna get quarantined and tested. The Raccoon City facility, they're taking her to the hospital, and they're gonna reopen the hive.
Wait, listen, I know that, like, it's the point that Umbrella is a corporation that makes incredibly bad, short-sighted, dangerous decisions. Why would you reopen the place full of zombies?
Well, it won't be too hard. They just have to, they need to get another commando team to shoot all the zombies. Then they get the janitor crew and the maintenance crew to clean it up. And then they just go through a big hiring process.
Yeah, totally. It's all good.
Yeah.
How do you feel about working in a building where 500 people died?
I mean, how good are the benefits?
Also some dogs.
You know?
Oh, the benefits are great. Hey, all the healthcare you could ever want.
Are they going to put me in the Nemesis program?
I'm not at liberty to say it this time.
Either I get put in the Nemesis program when I die, or I'm not signing. That's how this is going to go. Make me big, make me chunky, put me in the leather trench coat. You know, I volunteer. It's fine.
Man, I was basically Nemesis in the 12th grade, huh?
Oh, that's... I definitely wore a trench coat. This is a little bit of a tangent, but it was a valuable lesson in that trench coats are very warm, which makes them very nice to wear in the winter, and very bad to wear at all other times of year.
I believe it, yeah. I definitely wore one a couple times. I was a nerdy theater kid who liked dressing up, so, you know. No, can you imagine how funny it would be if the next movie was not Nemesis, but they made him into like Mr. X instead. Like just a complete tonal difference.
Right. I'm just...
he doesn't even have makeup. He's just on like platform shoes.
Yeah, he looks like a Dick Tracy
dumb little
character.
hat.
Yeah, totally. I think that'd be great.
So, we cut to, Mila waking up again.
Yo, they get her whole pussy out in this movie, which I completely forgot. Every time I watch this, I forget how gratuitous the nudity is at the end of this. Because, like, I always remember, seeing a little titty at this point, but no, you see her, like, whole situation in this film.
Yeah,
which is kind of wild.
Her medical dress is basically, 2 pieces of paper with string tying them together.
It's like made of dental floss.
She's like got a million needles in her. She pulls them all out. She's like going through an abandoned hospital. She puts on like a lab coat, walks out on this city in ruins.
Uh-oh.
We see it. There's a newspaper that's just like, "The Dead Walk!"
Another great Romero reference from our friend Paul.
Yeah. And we get one final moment where she grabs a shotgun out of a cop car, pumps it, and we zoom out on the ruined Raccoon City.
I think it's...
And we get the buttest of metal.
It's pretty good, yeah. What is the artist that does the song at the end? I used to know who it was, but I think Raccoon City is Toronto, if I'm remembering right. Like
that makes sense.
Maybe not in this one, but I think definitely in the second one, in Apocalypse, a lot of those city exteriors were made in Toronto. Yeah, this is one of those movies that has like what feels like 3 different endings, but it really leaves you hanging for Apocalypse, which is where we kind of get something I like about these movies, which is that in every single one of them, Mila Jovovich gets a like hot lady to be hot with and like be a sort of potential girlfriend for her. In this one, it was Michelle Rodriguez, and in the next one, it's Sienna Guillory who plays Jill Valentine. They kind of do hot girl shit together. So yeah. Did y'all have fun watching this movie? Had y'all seen it before you watched it for this podcast?
I've seen all of them before. I enjoyed watching it again. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
This was my first time seeing it, but it was definitely a blast. It took me a bit to get into it, but once one got turned into a pile of pineapple chunks, I was like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah, this
is good. This is great, actually.
Yeah, this one's a little slower to get started than some of the other ones, but it's pretty potent. I think it's when I was taking notes, I noticed, and I said this was kind of prime rent from Blockbuster at a preteen sleepover material. Like, this is something when I was like 12 years old I would have rented with my friends to watch. So it's very fun. It really is. It's a good time.
So how would you rate this as an adaptation, and how would you rate it as a standalone film?
Oof. On what scale? What is your scale that you do?
We usually just do like 1 to 5, I think.
1 to 5. Yeah. Oh gosh.
I think as an adaptation, I would give it like a let's say 4 T-Viri out of 5.
Really? That faithful?
Here's the thing. It's not faithful to the plot of any specific game, but I think they do a very good job evoking the structure and like
the tone,
recurring elements and tone of a Resident Evil. Like having there be a final battle on a train, having there be like the mansion, and it's not the Resident Evil 1 mansion, but it serves the same purpose, The ending of this film is basically just Act 1 of Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, totally. I think when Paul W.S. Anderson was writing and pitching this movie, he originally wrote it as almost like a Resident Evil fan fiction, right? Like he wrote the first draft of this as a ripoff of Resident Evil that I think was supposed to be a prequel, if I'm remembering right. Like an actual prequel to the games. And this is still kind of a prequel to the games in like a really weird alternate way. But I think if we're just going on like by the book source material, I would give this like a 2. I think that the first Resident Evil game is much more of like a monster mash than this is. You know, you get like the big shark, like the giant spiders, big venomous snake and stuff like that, which there's none of in this film.
That's true. It's pretty much just the dogs and the zombies.
Yeah, I don't think the mansion has much personality to it because I think Anderson is more interested in like these kind of science fiction spaces, like the underground lab and being in this kind of subterranean area. But I think in terms of really nailing the kind of B-movie vibe of the games themselves, which are intentionally very referential of like Romero movies and other like horror B films, I would agree with you that this is like very faithful to that tone, right? Like it really kind of conveys that pretty well.
Yeah. How did you rank it as a film again? I'm just writing these down.
I think it's either 1 out of 5 or 5 out of 5,
exactly.
Depending on how you're.
Exactly. Yeah, I think this is for me. I think it's like a 3.5 on Letterboxd or something like that. But I do love this movie quite a bit. I'm very partial to this franchise. I would give it, if I have to round to like a whole number, I'll give it a 3 out of 5. But it's really entertaining.
Yeah. I gotta say, I'm familiar with the series. I know where it goes. I'm giving it, I'd say like 3 out of 5 adaptation. I think it is bumped up a little bit just because of like the fun little escape room sequence that really, like I said, I really love how it captures that sort of feel of starting a survival horror game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm giving it 4 out of 5 as a film. Very fun watch, but I also know it gets better from here. But not immediately. I think the second one has its moments, but it's overall weaker. When I watched it, like, the second one, I remember, like, thinking, I was very attached to, I was very attached to Nemesis.
Yeah,
but
totally.
I'll get into that when we talk about it.
Yeah, I think it's a little tedious in comparison to this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I won't harp on it.
Yeah. Let's see, let me real quick check, for questions.
I think there might be a couple.
Yeah, I'll check Twitter first. If you want to send in a question, you can either send it in to our Twitter, which is, at VGTMTP, or you can send the questions in on our Discord, linked in the Twitter and the show notes. Let's see. We've got 3 Twitter questions. Let's see. WorriedGoku.jpg at I'm Galactus asks, well, they state, how did this movie go so far off the rails so quickly? And then ask, which one is your favorite?
I mean, I can't speak to this because I've only seen the first one.
Yeah. It's gotta be the penultimate one. That one has some good stuff going in it for it. Good action. A very, very good shot that,
oh,
because
my God.
Maxie's new, I'm not going to go into detail just yet.
Yeah, I think Retribution is undisputedly the best one of these movies. It is just like 90 minutes of putting it's just, I wouldn't call it brain melting because that sounds a little reductive, right? But it is just 90 straight minutes of just the purest, most unself-inhibited, like, action sci-fi blockbuster schlock that it's just incredible. It really is. And I think what was the other part of the question? How does it go off the rails? I think I don't think this movie was ever really on the rails to begin with. So
No.
yeah, it's
Like, it's the first two are as far as you get on rails.
Yeah, totally. And I think, like, with this movie, as soon as you get to that part where the elevator drops like you're in an advertisement for Disney World's Tower of Terror, you're like, okay, this movie is a little bit goofy with it. So,
Bookcase Queen at Bookcase Queen 96 asks, which movies would be vastly improved with the addition of a laser trap room?
oh, that's a good question.
They should have a laser trap room in the Eternals.
For whatever reason, I'm just thinking of the Super Mario Brothers movie. If Bob Hoskins and why am I forgetting his name?
John Leguizamo.
Oh shit! Yes,
John Leguizamo. If they had to do like a comedy version of the laser trap room,
that'd be pretty good.
Yeah,
they do it with fire bars. You see?
Oh, I like that.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
So in Uncut Gems where the guy is stuck inside the door and trying to get buzzed into the jewelry shop, just connect the dots.
Right. Countess Cosmos at Casey Cosmos asks, what cool mutant power do you get from an Umbrella Corp virus thing? Well, obviously I become my persona.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I feel like they wouldn't develop that because, like, that would be good for society, and that's not really their thing.
They can make money off of it, though. Like,
they could make money off of it.
What would my if I didn't have to pick the Persona one, which I probably would, just off the bat, what? I don't know. I can levitate things, but only very specific things. I can only levitate cans of Diet Arnold Palmer and, like, particularly interesting rocks. So ostensibly useful, but also not really.
Right.
I want to be able to shoot blood out of my eyes like that one desert toad.
That's pretty sick.
Oh, that rules.
Yeah.
Let's see. Discord questions. Let's see. We got 3, but I just want to make sure. Yep, 3 questions. Dark Wizard James Mason asks, can you dance the laser hallway to death?
If you were good, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you like put on the Jim Carrey's The Mask and became Cuban Pete, you could probably avoid the lasers.
Yeah. You have to do a rhythm mini game to get through it.
Yeah.
Sidmon asks, would you rather be in the Red Queen hallway or the Cube from the Cube? Or the Cube from Cube?
I mean, the Cube from Cube has like a razor wire hallway, doesn't it? And I feel like that'd be worse.
That would,
like, the laser, that'll make a clean, quick cut.
That would be, so the Cube one would be worse, but I also think it would have a higher chance of survival, because if you can figure out what the rooms in Cube do before you go in them, it's a little bit easier to survive them, right? Whereas in the hallway, you're just trapped in there. And I am not athletic enough to avoid those laser beams.
Right. I'm not familiar with the Cube from Cube, unfortunately.
Imagine if Saw was a Rubik's Cube.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Probably the hallway. I feel like I'd die faster. I don't want to. I'm afraid of a slow, agonizing death.
Y'all got to think more positive. I'm out here like, yeah, I'm gonna solve this. I'm gonna beat this, and y'all are like, oh, the hallway would kill me faster. I'm so sorry.
No. Listen, if I were in a zombie apocalypse scenario, I'm just taking myself out immediately.
You're walking,
not even gonna try.
You're walking right into that hallway. You're gonna.
I don't care. I don't care how many bullets I got. I don't care if I got 1. I don't know if I got 100. Doop. Pow. Done. Save myself the trouble.
I think I'd hang out for a little while. I don't know.
I'd hang out in a zombie apocalypse, but not the laser hallway.
Yeah.
I give up there. Hornmeister asks, which encounters from the Resident Evil games that are neither a shambling or dead, nor a hulking mutant, would you have liked to see adapted in this movie?
Oh.
Which one deserves a movie of its own?
Not sure.
I like the weird, plant guys from 2.
I think they should.
Also, we gotta get the shark.
Yeah, it's gotta be the shark.
The shark would be good. I think they should have adapted the weird son in Resident Evil 7, who's like Jigsaw. And they should have put that in those movies.
Oh, does Salazar count? Because I want a movie about Salazar.
Yeah, that totally counts. Yeah.
What about the boulder?
The boulder is also a good one. I think the best game ever made, or at least a very good game, would be Capcom should have made a character action game based on these movies where you play as Alice and you do kick flips and you shoot machine guns, basically Bayonetta, right? But with Mila Jovovich as Alice. I think that would be an incredible video game.
That sounds awesome. I'd play it. That's it for questions. Let me think. What else is there to talk about? What are we thinking for November? I will say in advance, I have come up with things for December and January. November, however, we're open.
I feel like I want to watch something that's just complete shit.
You should,
I want to I think I want to watch a Uwe Boll.
Oh, really? Ooh. I was gonna say you should watch the Dead or Alive movie that Paul produced, because that one's just total schlock.
I forgot there was one.
Yeah, he produced it, and it's directed in the same way that a lot of his movies are.
Yeah.
What would be another good one for y'all? I think, Street Fighter Legend of Chun-Li is hilarious.
No, we just saw Street Fighter a couple months ago, and I'm still recovering from that one.
Yeah, Chun-Li is as absurd as that one, but more with early 2010s edgy stylistic stuff. I highly recommend it, but I don't know. Y'all could do the Alone in the Dark movie.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I know you just did a zombie one, but there's the House of the Dead one that he did, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking Alone in the Dark.
Okay, yeah, I can get behind that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it looked, just a quick check on here, does say it has a Stinker's Bad Movie Award for Worst Sense of Direction, and a Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Director. And that guy punched Lotax in the face, so that's already got me interested.
Listen, under no circumstances do you need to hand it to him, but
he did punch Lotax in the face. Yeah, okay. Alone in the Dark, next film.
Hell yeah.
Let's see. Morgan, it was great having you on.
Yeah, thanks.
I definitely want to bring you on the next time we talk about a Resident Evil film.
Oh gosh, yeah, I will definitely be down for that. Thank you so much for having me on. It was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was a treat.
Yeah.
I love to talk about these stupid movies. I really do. And these games are also great. So if you haven't played Resident Evil, please please, by all means.
So, let's do some plugs. Morgan, you're a guest. Why don't you go first?
Yeah, you can find me in a couple places. I'm still on Twitter at Cursegoat. If you want to keep up with other movies I watch, I'm on Letterboxd at Sewer Peak. I was just recently on the podcast Fear Baiting for Schlucktober, where we talked about the 2017 remake / sequel of Flatliners, starring Elliot Page, which was an unexpected Christian film, very interesting. And I also do the podcast Emoji Drome with Sylvie. I have been so busy lately, but we are about to start updating that again. So if you want to hear two people crack wise about emoji, then I guess that's the program for you.
Good podcast. I need to catch up on it. It's been a while.
Yeah. I need to listen to more of it. My problem is I feel like I have to be looking at Emojipedia while I'm doing it.
We kind of cooked up the idea for that without really considering the kind of ask of including a visual element to it. But you know, it's just one of those things.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm Dan. You can find me at a lot of places, and you can find those places at linktr.ee/big_challenges. You can find my Twitter at Bigger Challenge. You can find the wide variety of podcasts I do, which include Pot of Greed, Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast. We finished Season 2. We're going to be recording a wrap-up episode tomorrow. Or Season 2 of GX. You can listen to the Sonic Shuffle, Sonic Lore Podcast. By the time you hear this, you will be able to hear our episode on the Tails Doll creepypasta.
Oh, hell yeah.
Which we brought on Nana Roy of Nana Roy's Nightmare in Era. And also worth bringing up that I also guested on a Nightmare in Era episode on Sonic.exe. It was really, really good. You can listen to Video Games, the Movie, the Podcast. Wait, that's this one. Fuck.
Yeah, that's this one.
Holy shit. I mean, you can listen to it. You're doing it right now.
Yeah. Go ahead. Listen to earlier episodes if you haven't. Listen to Chillbleed, Michael Reynolds' Auditory Horrorland, a limited run Illbleed podcast I'm doing with, Gigalithic and John. We just talked about Killer Man.
Hell
that
yeah.
episode will be up by the time you hear this.
Illbleed kicks ass. That game is so fun.
It does. It's so fucking good.
Our next recording's probably going to be the final episode. We'll be talking about Toy Hunter, the museum, the true ending, and all that.
Cork Goes to Hell. Yeah.
Cork Goes to Hell. I'm real excited for that. You can listen to Stranger's Fiction, an actual play podcast focused on one-shots. There hasn't been an episode lately, but we are looking towards scheduling another one sometime in the near future. And last but not least is at Xbox_holiday, where Usher celebrates holidays with Xbox. Happy Halloween, Xbox.
Happy Halloween, Xbox.
Happy Halloween, Xbox.
And yeah, that's it. Maxie, where can we find you?
You can find me at Max Knightley, that's KNIGHTLEY, on Twitter and Tumblr. I'm also on the podcast Eidolon Playtest. That's an actual play podcast, heavily inspired by JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Persona. We are currently in our second season. It is going really well. Every episode is even better than the last one, and I made a full soundtrack for it. The full soundtrack is out for Patreon subscribers for both seasons. I'm genuinely really proud of my work on that show.
And you can find us on Twitter at VGTMTP. From there you can find our Discord. And you can also find us on Noisepace.xyz. Noisepace.xyz is this sort of podcast network run by a Canadian man, hence why you have to say Zed. There's lots and lots of shows. I'm just gonna shout out two that have started recently. Digimon Ghost Gaze, about the new Digimon anime Digimon Ghost game. They did a really... recently there was a week where there was no episode, so instead they did a review of the Digimon movie. That one's really fun. And the other one is Prime Cuts, a podcast my friend Audrey does with another friend of mine, Nero Wyvern, going through all of like Transformers television, but not in order. They seem, I don't know the exact nature, whether it's just which ones they want to talk about the most or what, but you can listen to that, and it's real good. They're like on their third episode now. And there's other good shows. Kyle XY recently recorded their series finale episode for the show. They're gonna talk about fanfiction in the future. Don't know much about that. You can listen to, Slappers Only, Video Game Music Showdown podcast. That one's really good. You can listen to, 0 to 0. They are talking about Wonder Woman, and for the first time ever, they are talking about something they don't hate. You can listen to, I already mentioned Nanoro's Nightmare and Era. And we've already talked about fear baiting. Yeah. Go visit Noisepace.xyz. Tell your friends. Rate, review, all that jazz. That brings us to the end, and, remember, this ain't no game.
This is real life, or is that what it is? I'm sorry.
No, it's just this ain't no game.
This ain't no game.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.